Hello guys, this is Cashier. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. So for today's video, we're going to cover top 5 meta decks of April 2023 OCG format. So with the recent concluded April Banlist and the release of Wild Survivors, there's a lot of things to be excited and cope with on the new format and new Banlist. So with the hits of Tearlaments, Sprite, and Ishizu to the release of Blaster and Glow Up Bulb on the Banlist, there's a lot of things to enjoy and spectacles to be discovered on the new format. So without further much ado, let's get started. Coming at number 5, we have the Tearlaments. I cannot believe that I am saying this, but Tearlaments is still a good deck to play up until this date. I just want to commend their sustainability and survivability and adaptability from being the best deck of the last 12 months or so. They are still a deck to pick up on the meta game up until this date, because after the hits of Ishizu cards like Kelbeck, Mudura, and all, and also their monster lineup has been gutted by the banlist as well, with the Havnis, Merly, Sharon hits. Tournaments is still a deck to a deck that you can pick up when you are trying to compete against the meta. That's just how things are with Tearlaments, because for me Tearlaments is the greatest deck of all time because their power and ceiling says so. And the issue with Tearlaments right now is the same. They are pretty much getting hammered by Cold of the Grave, Diddy Crow, Bestial. These are the cards that you should watch out for if you are playing Tearlaments. And also turn skipping cards such as Dimension Shifter is a very massive card to go against when you are playing Tearlaments. So the deck has the same issues, but I pretty much think that their consistency is lowered right now. But nonetheless, they are still a good deck to play. And also, the most notable one is Tearlaments against Ash Blossom. Ash Blossom before against Tearlaments is pretty much weak because they still have a lot of follow-ups, follow-throughs, and they can play around Ash Blossom with a lot of their cards to act as bait. But right now, one Ash Blossom can be very massive against Tearlaments because they don't have that much follow-ups to play when being struck by Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. So, with the number 5 best deck right now, I'll go with Tearlaments. Coming at number 4, we have Labyrinth. I think that if you are trying to play a control deck right now on the format, Labyrinth is your go-to deck because Labyrinth is the best control and trap deck also right now on the format. Despite the Eldritch buff from the Curse Land, it is nowhere near against the Labyrinth on the current format. And the most notable thing that the Labyrinth players are doing right now is from the Floodgate-centric type of build on their main deck, such as the Skill Drain, because Skill Drain has been hit by the ban list. It is currently R1, so Floodgates are showing away from the Labyrinth main deck. They are now preferring to play powerful trap cards such as Terror Roots from the Underground and Dimensional Barrier and Compulsory. Labyrinth players shifted from the Floodgates into the more interactive trap cards because they feel like they can interact better and trade better with this trap lineup, such as these cards. And also, Labyrinth going second is not a joke because post game 2 and 3, they have cards like Spear Mode and Lava Golem that can obliterate boards on the format if you are playing decks like Cashier and Adamantipator, good stuff, Bestial Synchron. You are pretty much dead if they have drawn Sphere Mode and Lava Golem. So, Labyrinth going second is pretty much well set on game 2 entry if they can draw this kind of cards. The problem of Labyrinth is still the same. Cards like Harpy's Feather Duster on the inclusion of this card on the side deck of many players is still a pain in the ass of Labyrinth. And spot removal such as Cosmic Cyclone and Twin Twister is a problem on the Labyrinth setup, because right now they are playing interactive drop cards. So Cosmic Cyclone and Twin Twister can really mitigate their board presence. And blowout cards such as Lightning Storm and Evenly Match are still cards that you should look out for when you're playing Labyrinth. So I pretty much think that Labyrinth is in a good spot right now in the format. They are a good deck to pick up if you are trying to play around the next ban list. If you are avoiding the next ban list, Labyrinth is a good deck to play on this format. Coming at number 3, we have the Cashier. Cashier is a deck that I think that is very good if you are trying to go against the format, the best decks on the format. Just Tearlaments having a poor matchup against Cashier, because Cashier Arise Heart will definitely shut down their graveyard. So the milling factors of Tearlaments will be mitigated by the Cashier Arise Heart, and also Cashier can lock out zones on the spell and trap, so they can mitigate also the Labyrinth strategy, the back row strategy of Labyrinth. And also pendulum decks such as Super Heavy Samurai and Pendulum Magician can suffer against Cashier, because they can lock your pendulum scales on the board. So Cashier is a very good deck if you are trying to answer a lot of meta decks. And also Adamantipator or Earth Good Stuff is a deck that will be heavily affected by Cashier Arise Heart. So Cashier answers a lot of meta relevant decks right now. That's why I prefer them in the number 3 spot, because of their good matchups against the format. And the same problem of Cashier is still Nibiru, because they tend to special summon a lot on the turn, because they can go with more than 5 summoning on the turn, and they can just play Arise Heart Pass if they want to. But I think that is very underwhelming if you are playing Cashier, because Mind Hacker with Shangri-La and Arise Heart is 100 times better than Arise Heart Pass. So Nibiru can answer Cashier. And also Book of Eclipse saw resurgence right now on the format, because Cashier is gaining popularity. So Book of Eclipse is returning to the side deck lineup of many decks right now. And non-targeting take control cards such as Change of Heart is a good card against are good cards against Cashier, because they can take control of Arise Heart or Shangri-La to link it away or do something with it. So Change of Heart is a good card against Cashier. And the most notable one on the Cashier currently is, aside from playing Path of Prosperity before, they are now playing Path of Extravagance. They decided to up their consistency on the deck. They decided to take a few steps on improving their consistency. That's why they incorporated Path of Extravagance in their main deck. And it's so good success on them, because I can see a lot of Cashier deck lists that are maining Path of Extravagance. They are just maxing out the Cashier Arise Heart, Shangri-La, and Mind Hacker, going into 3 copies on their extra deck. And they are just playing Extravagance to draw cards and improve their consistency, because the consistency of Cashier right now is nothing compared to the Cashier before that, when they have 3 Fenrir and 3 Unicorn. It is not the same right now. They have to be more assertive on improving their consistency, because they only have 1 Fenrir and 1 Unicorn to deal against. So Path of Extravagance is a really good addition to the main deck of Kashtira. So yeah, I think that Kashtira is my number 3 best deck on this format. Coming at number 2, we have the Vanquish Shoal. It is the most recent archetype that saw success on the format with the release of Wild Survivors recently. Vanquish Shoal is a good strategy right now on the format because it saw early success on the introduction of this archetype into the format, and I think that they are just pretty much shy away from the best deck on this format that will be discussed later on. They are really near to compete against the contention of the best deck on this format. So I think that Vanquish Shoal is a good deck to play, and it is a deck that requires critical thinking and skill to optimize at top level because their interruptions are not the type of interruptions that is negation, or you can just negate everything on the opponent. You have to think with Vanquish Shoal because their disruptions are pretty much interactive and complex to begin with. The good side of what do you call this Vanquish Shoal is they can play a lot of pot cards. They can pretty much play all the existing pot cards on the format. Extravagance, Prosperity, Desires. Their main deck has a lot of copies of their main monsters. So they can play Pot of Desires. They have a lot of extra cards on the extra deck that are not pretty much useful. So they can just extravagance their way into drawing 2, and there's a lot of copies of unusable cards on the extra deck, to be honest. So they can just throw 6 cards of that and excavate for 6 using Prosperity. So they can play maximum consistency with Vanquish Shoal. They can play Small World also. So they have a lot of cards that can improve their consistency. And also, the most notable one is they can play there can be only one. They can play such as Summon Limit, and there can be only one. They can play Floodgates to dictate the tempo of the game. So Vanquish Shoal can really optimize their deck into their fullest potential because they have a lot of main deck space to incorporate a lot of cards. So yeah, Vanquish Shoal is a good deck right now. And also they can play Kurikara, Divine Incarnate, because revealing Earth and Fire and sometimes Dark can be very beneficial to Vanquish Shoal because they have a lot of effects that can reveal their monsters that will result into advantages for them, such as this Fire and Earth. So Kurikara, Divine Incarnate, so play on the main deck of Vanquish Shoal and Dogoran as well. So I think they also have roots for Small World into playing these type of cards. So yeah, they can pretty much search everything depending on their hand. And the most notable factor of Vanquish Shoal for me is they can play around Maxi. They tend to special summon a couple of times only on a turn. So they can pretty much mitigate the impact of Maxi on the OCG format because of their unique style of play. And your problem with Vanquish Shoal is if they have no follow-ups on the hand that can dodge or extend their plays, they can really suffer against Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit because if you Ghost Ogre their normal summon, they cannot go into this rank of Vanquisher. So Ghost Ogre will really suffocate them if they don't have follow-ups on the hand. And also, the most notable card that is running around the format is the Ghost Reaper and Winter Cherries to single out the lack of Vanquisher on the extra deck because this card is very massive on Vanquish Shoal strategy because this is the recovery, this is the follow-up, this is the follow-through of their turn. So, if you are getting struck by Winter Cherries, you are pretty much doomed if you are playing Vanquish Shoal. So, this is the card that you should watch out for if you are playing Vanquish Shoal. Coming at number 1, moving forward to the best deck of this format, we have Purely. I think that Purely is the deck that lesser suffered from the previous banlist because the banlist struck tier elements and bestial sprite variants and other sprite variants. Purely is untouched from the banlist, from the April banlist. So I think that Purely is the best deck right now in the format. And other top players such as Kuki Osaka, the world champion 2019 and the current world champion, is playing Purely right now on Japan. On the recent results of him, they hit up a couple of times using Purely. I guess it is 3 times already. 3 first place finishes using Purely, and there's a lot of top players also that are playing Purely. So I decided that Purely is the best deck because the top players around the world in the OCG format are playing Purely as well. So Purely is the best deck right now on the format for me. And also Purely can suffer against the Droll and Lockbird. Droll and Lockbird so massive resurgence on the main deck of a lot of players right now on the format because Droll and Lockbird can stop Purely from gaining card advantages. And also Purely will suffer against Kaiju, the Sea Turtle Kaiju and other forms of Kaiju, because they end up on one pretty much boss monster all the time. They end on Expurlinor to win the game from there. So Kaijuing that really absurd boss monster will mitigate the power of Purely, of course. And the Herald of Abyss can out the Expurlinor instantly. So Purely will struggle if the opponent outed the Expurlinor. And also Anti-Spell Fragrance is a card that saw resurgence on the side deck of many players because Purely strategy is revolved around playing spell cards. So Anti-Spell Fragrance will slow the deck down, but they can play around this if they want to play the spell cards on draw phase or anything because some of them are quick play except for the field spell, of course. So yeah, there's a lot of cards that can answer Purely on the format, but I definitely think that this is the most consistent one out of the 5 decks here, and Purely has the better ceiling for me because Expurlinor is very massive, to be honest. If you don't have outs for Expurlinor, you are pretty much doomed against Purely. If I'm going to have a top 6 best deck right now, I'm going to select the Adamantipator. If I'm going to select a top 6 deck on this list, Adamantipator is a very good combo deck. The World Champion 2018 is playing Adamantipator right now on the recent tournament from Taiwan, I guess. Yeah, Taiwan. He's playing Adamantipator. And I saw the power of Adamantipator is really insane on that particular video stream. And I think that only Maxi is the most closest thing that can stop them from playing the game because they tend to special summon really ton of times. So Maxi will obliterate the Adamantipator and will instantly lose against Maxi as well. So yeah, short recap. At number 5 we have the Elements. At number 4 we have Labyrinth. At number 3 we have Cashier. At number 2 we have Vanquish Soul. At number 1 we have Purely. So thanks for watching this video, and I hope you like this kind of content, and I hope you learn a thing or two. Thank you for watching, and hit the subscribe button to be updated with my YouTube channel, and hit the like if you like this kind of content. Thank you for watching. Peace.